This is a warning to all living mortals that on the 13th of December, Moose will release 13 of the most terrifying interviews of horror unto the world.
That's right, 13 brand new episodes in the month of December, leading up to our season premiere. And until then, Horror Hounds, mash on.
On the second day of Christmas, Moose brought to me the creative team of Happy Death Days Rob Mello and Rebecca Rinehart with their camp slasher, Tin Roof.
Welcome, Horror Hounds, to another 13 horrifying days of Christmas. I'm your host and gift giver, Moose. We are traveling down the independent film circuit yet again, and this time it's not one but two guests, so I guess this would be fitting for day two. So please welcome Rebecca Rinehart and return guest, Mr. Rob Mello.
Hello.
What's up?
So how we doing, guys? How's it hanging?
Hey.
Low and to the left. No.
Oh, it moved. So
High
last time
and
it was
to the
low and to the right.
It's high and to the right because it's we're approaching winter months up here.
But yeah, as I was gearing up for my 13 horrifying days, I really wanted to get with you guys to talk about Tin Roof, because I've been following it for a while, and I know it's been this big passion project, and I really wanted to kind of peel the layers back a little bit and get into it. How's the whole process been?
Well, right now, so just to kind of we already did film. Mm-hmm. We filmed in June. Sorry, we've got kids who are still trying to get Halloween candy out while we're doing a podcast. So, but right now we are in post-production, but it's been a long process, but a good one. So we filmed the Embalmers, my directorial debut. We filmed that in September of 2020, right?
Yep.
I think so.
Because he was heading to film with you right after I interviewed him, a couple months after I interviewed him in February of 20. So.
Aw, many things have changed here. Now he's
quite a bit.
Yeah. You're with me all the time.
I was just so impressed with her directorship that I was like, I have to have that woman.
Yeah, he's like, Indiana, here I come. It's the greatest place ever.
He kept talking you up during the interview, too. I mean, it was, if I remember correctly, it was you had a mind for horror, I think is how he described you.
The Encyclopedia Brown of horror, it should be.
There it is.
Yeah. So we had just filmed that, literally hours prior. We had just filmed it, and we ended up back at my house. It was the two of us and Julianne Prescott, another indie filmmaker that I don't know if you've talked to her or not. She's definitely worth talking to. But so we're just sitting here, of course, drinking and everything else. And Rob goes, "So, boss lady, what's next?" I just finished my first film filming, right? I still have a lot of stuff going on after that, Plus, I was on a sabbatical. I took a year off of normie work. And so I had 1 year. And so here it is, September. I've got a movie I've got to edit. I've got to get a job at the beginning of the new year. And I'm like, this is the last thing I want to think of, right?
Right.
Well, okay, if I'm going to do another movie, because the Embalmers wasn't really my story to tell. That was more my sister's story.
We added a little.
Yeah, but if I'm gonna do a movie that's my passion project, I'm gonna do a camp slasher.
Of course.
I'm like, but I had some provisos, and one I can't really tell because it's kind of a spoiler, but one is I wanted it to involve people who were our age. Normal middle-aged people, married or kids or jobs. I mean, that kind of thing. I didn't want it to be teenagers or college students. I wanted to be with people that I could identify with because I grew up watching these movies and I have far, far, far exceeded the age of most of the protagonists in most of the movies that I've ever seen.
Well, and now we hang out with them at conventions. So, I mean...
Well, now they're our age. Those people are our age or, like, slightly older. So yeah, I just wanted something that kind of would grow with the camp slasher fan. And so he said, I'm going to write it. I'm like, okay, whatever, because we're just like, yeah, whatever. Well, lo and behold, he came up here. He was still in New Orleans, came up here in October, and he wrote the movie on one end of the table, and I edited the Embalmers on the other end. And we bought berets. We had little French berets. Oh, we should send him a picture. That's got to be our thumbnail. We did this whole,
yes.
It was our, bohemian...
weekend kind of thing.
Yeah, well,
vacation.
Yeah, our bohemian vacation, and we had these berets, and there's a lot of
it was a mixture of booze and coffee, sparsed with food, but depending on the time of night or day,
whatever.
I get up, she'd jump on the editing, and I'd start writing, and I don't sleep much, so I'd get up at 3 a.m. and be like, damn.
I would not.
Damn, I can get some writing done.
Yeah.
So that's to break out the problem. And when your forehead starts hitting the space bar is when you go back to bed.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But to circle back a hair, I've worked with an enormous amount of incredibly talented, world-class directors, and they all had underlings and budgets and shit, right? I mean, I've worked with a whole slew of incredible directors, but they had, budgets, they had money backing them, underlings to do all the legwork and shit, and she really didn't have any of that. And she so had her shit together that in my mind, I'm like, all right, so what's next? Because she had to have something, coming up that she was going to direct. And she's like, nothing. I'm fucking, I got to get a straight job. I was like, oh, man. And that's how that conversation rolled. I was like, all right, ideally, what would you want to do? She's like, fucking camp slasher. And if you've ever met her, or if you know her at all.
Yeah, well, you probably can't see, but yeah. I'm a little Jason heavy in my... Yeah, there we go.
Just a little.
Yeah, just a little.
Here's a pillow for the couch. But, so I'm like, all right, well, I'll write the motherfucker. Fast forward to when we're having our bohemian vacation. And I'm like, I got it. And I went into this 20-minute spiel, right? And I'm all animated and I'm all excited. And
Let me tell them what you said, but go ahead.
But to her credit, the whole time she smiled and she let me finish. Go ahead.
Okay, so he's like, I've got this great idea. Because we're like, okay, who's the killer or killers or whatever? That's another kind of thing I don't really like to, pigeonhole either. I don't like to be like, there's one killer who has, these motives.
Yeah.
And we will find out in the last 5 minutes of the movie. Whatever. But he was like, what if this kid was, at camp and, he got killed by an accident or something? And, now... it's his mom is killing these people to get revenge. And I'm like, honey, that's a great plot for a movie. I'm like, it's one of my favorites. It's Friday the 13th.
Right.
But it actually...
So I'm like, shit, back to the drawing board.
For those who will watch this movie, he wrote it, but I obviously had some heavy influence in it. I mean, there's a very sarcastic woman named Becca in it that pretty much every word that she says came out of my mouth. Every filthy word she says came out of my mouth.
Except for the little addictive.
That was yours. That was yours. Yeah. But what was cool was, we wanted characters. We wanted like dimension or whatever. Well, that's his thing. He's not really that into horror, and he hasn't seen 90% of the movies that I'm influenced by or that I want to do homages to, or I want to,
But he is insanely creative.
Badman was one, definitely. Yeah. So it's like we've got this good mix of like I'm coming from the I'm for lack of a better word pandering to fans who are like me, but also he's like I don't really care. He's like I want good characters and good kills, and that's all I really want out of it.
Yeah, we haggled over kills for like a week, and can I tell him about the Brian? How I came across it. Sorry, dude. Maybe after we're released, I'm
looking forward to a follow up because, like I said, I've from essentially Inception, I've been following this film, and one of the things I really liked about this whole thing is in true independent style. It was open casting call, crowdfunding. I mean, it was super just out there. I mean, hell, I auditioned. So, I mean, it was just insane to see, like, I mean, we're in this, like, boom of independent horror right now. And typically what you see is people who already have their cast figured out before they go. And they're like, all right, I'm writing it. This is who I have in mind for this role. And you guys did it much more of the like traditional style where it's here's my script and now we need people, and that was fun to watch.
Right, the Embalmers was definitely that. Like we had my sister and I had our cast handpicked before we ever even wrote anything. We had an idea and we had a great cast, and then we're like, okay, let's make a movie around these people. So, I mean, it was cool because we could write the characters around the actual people. Mm-hmm. But with this, it is the opposite. And it is, it's very cool, like, to find that person. Like, you've got it in your mind. I mean, every time I read the script or, like, we would read it out loud a million times just to make sure that everything flowed, like, conversationally. And, like, so I had in my mind, I'm like, Becca was me. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, like, Becca's me.
Yeah.
And
oh yeah.
Well, I mean, you always write what you know.
Well, right, but I mean,
but there are other really super smart, sexy, fucking sarcastic women out there. So it's more of an archetype.
Finding the one that's going to best be my Becca. It's really cool whenever you're like auditioning somebody and you're like, hey, that's you.
You're what Becca. I saw in my head.
You're a sarcastic bitch. Awesome.
Yeah, and Ray Hunt, who plays Becca, is nothing like me, really. No. She's feisty, but she's definitely not like me. Actually, I think if a person were to play me, I think Amanda Winston, who plays Kat, she and I are much more alike. Yeah. So, I mean, doing the casting was cool. We really got the best people.
Yeah. Well, I copied and pasted the audition request from the Magnificent Seven. And because, it laid out A to B, how to do it, what to do, your framing, lighting, readers, everything. And the responses that we got is the origins of our studio. Subfolders Studio. So, we opened up a Google account to handle all of it. To centralize. And like we would get the weirdest shit.
When I also, just to clarify, when he says like these are the instructions for Magnificent Seven, it wasn't anything like you need to get studio time, blah, blah. It's like stand in front of a plain colored wall.
Super basic, like keep it simple.
Animals are caged. I mean, it's basic. And if you want to be in a movie or be involved in a movie at all, I will tell you one little secret. Everything is a freaking test. Everything. If I can't get you to follow basic instructions and you can't like turn your phone so you're shooting the right way, or you can't name your files the way that I've asked you to, I can't direct you.
Right.
If you can't do basic, like, 5th grade, crap.
Reading
Follow the leader.
Right. So there was nothing that, like, involved money or,
Nope.
like, or even experience. It was just, if you were somebody who could read and follow directions, then you were golden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some were not.
Oh my God. The shit we got, dude. We had one dude walking down the street in fucking Queens with his phone and did, hey! And I'm like, holy shit.
We had, so the folder that he is alluding to, we had, like, different folders for, like, the amusing things and, obviously for practical things.
What the fuck is the dumb bastard can't read directions?
Right, or like, rewatch this whenever you're drunk and need a good laugh. Not to make fun of anybody, but it's like, it wasn't like people being bad actors. It was people being
incompetent
in just life. And so it's okay.
You got something about bitch, wish a bitch.
Yes, so we had one actress. I have since in detailing the story to another filmmaker out of Manhattan. He said, "Oh yeah, you dealt with." Apparently, this is a thing that she does.
Call her Emily.
We'll call her Emily.
Yeah.
How about we call her Jennifer?
No, because that would have been my name if I was a girl.
Oh, okay. I had a reason to call her Jennifer, but
Emily. I don't know.
Yeah. So we had this chick who was like the kind of like not the primary, but like a secondary lead in like
later
horror movie franchise number 52 kind of thing. So
I dealt with her. So she sent, the request.
Mm-hmm.
You email me, I send you the NDA, you sign that fucker and send it back. You get your sides and your instructions.
So she gets the NDA and all of that, and she said, "Well, I don't audition. I am just offered parts." And yeah, the audacity for somebody to say, "I don't audition. I have this resume, this." You do not, first of all. Secondly, okay, and I'm going to say this as being a horror fan. Her franchise is my heart. It's not Friday the 13th, but I fucking adore this franchise with every ounce of my being. And I could not sit through her one of them, like her installment.
And she watches shit films.
Oh, I watch.
I love like super camp and super cheesy horror.
I do too. Like, this was like an abomination of a franchise that I just absolutely adored. And I'm like, no, you don't have a resume. So
I call her and I'm like, are you reading this shit? And she's like, oh my God. I'm like, so I sent her because we're a 50-50 team. And for the most part, if it's not unanimous, it's not done.
Yeah.
And I said for the most part, there was a qualifier. Shut up. I went out on a limb and it didn't work out. Can you grab me a beer, baby?
Yeah.
And I'm like, are you reading this shit? This bitch out of her fucking rabbit ass mind. And so I wrote up a whole fucking, a scathing response. And I sent it to Beck and I'm like, I'm not sending it without, this has got to be one of them United Fronts thing. And she's like, hang on to that. But kindly inform her in a professional, cool, don't swear, man. That's not how we're running this one. So I did. I was very political about it and I was very cool. And I'm like, look, I understand where you're coming from. However, in the interest of fairness of people that have a little less experience than you, everybody's on an even keel. So that's how we're going to do it. In my mind, I'm like, bitch, I've been in 2 Blumhouse films. I was in The Magnificent fucking Seven. Suck every inch of my ass because I auditioned.
Hey, and you know what? Alen Moody, who we more or less wrote the role of Charlene for her.
Oh, she destroyed it.
She's a fucking veteran actress. She was in My Bloody Fucking Valentine.
Yeah.
And we just worked with her.
She asked to audition.
She was in our other movie, and she asked to audition. She auditioned. So no, no favors for you.
Yeah.
So the folder that he ended up making
for her, the super horror actress, well-known queen.
Yeah.
I'm like, who the fuck is that? She's like, I don't know. And if Rebecca don't know, and you've been in horror, I'm like, all right, you're not known.
And I have to look it up. Like, you were in that? Ah. So we have a folder called I Wish a Bitch Would. We were just waiting for her to come back. And so we started. So that was where it came from. We were like, oh, God, that's it. We have all these subfolders of, like, WTF. I wish a bitch would.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. So we are Subfolder Studios.
That's that story.
Hey, we haven't told that story, like, in public. Like, we've told it to people personally.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's our secret little wink wink. You know, when people are like, oh, Subfolder Studios, what does that mean? That's what it means. Stupid motherfuckers, incompetent motherfuckers, arrogant motherfuckers. Right. But that was the point. And it worked because our cast
crew.
Yeah, the crew, but we didn't spread out for the crew.
Yeah.
You know, we worked with the people that we knew. And because we've worked with most of them on the Embalmers, but the cast was nobody ever met anybody. And it was just their on-screen chemistry was tits and champagne, man. It was fantastic. And it happened in the first shot on day one. I will tell you that we only have one married couple, and they'd never met each other. But we put them all up at an Airbnb together and asked that they, you know, we did do kind of an online read through, and then they spent a night, you know, at the Airbnb, and then boom, right to work. And the second, our Brian, fellow named
Michael Dean.
Mike Dean, kind of like Jim, but Mike. And Ray, they're the married couple. There's a scene where he kind of leaned on her knee. And these are all people that grew up together. And once we cut that shot, after that, boom, everybody was all in.
Yeah. And we planned it too, to where the first scene that we shot was in the first act. And it's basically a little barbecue, a little get together at Brian and Becca's house, which is our house.
Yeah.
But we planned it that way because it was like the 5 main people just hanging out and
drinking beer, bullshit,
retelling stories about camp, and you know, and establishing that, hey, you know, 4 of these people, they've known each other since birth, pretty much.
Yeah.
And so yeah, they got out here and they were just like, boom. Just, you know, they're having a great time and very natural. I mean, so we've got there are 2 couples in the 5.
2 couples, but we only got 1 married.
Still, it's like, you know, everybody just worked really well together.
Yeah.
We didn't have any kind of tension. It was like, you know, everybody.
No egos.
Well, I mean, there's probably
aside from yours.
Yeah.
But
can't handle divas.
But and that was the point of casting the way we did, and I'm glad as hell that we did, and it just worked out solid for us, for the crew, the cast, and hopefully for the viewer.
Well, I mean, you cast yourself a much wider net than you would have if you would have just said, "Hey, I think this is who I want for this role. Let me go ask them." And then, you know, you kind of cherry pick it that way. And what you did is you opened the doors up a little bit to see how people are going to interpret your vision. And you kind of got a glimpse of where this is going long term, you know, before you even like, yep, that's it, you know, that's Bill, that's Charlene, you know, it's
right. And I will say that I wanted to hire as many Indiana, like, local people as I could, for not selfish reasons, but I mean, we just
the location and all that. It just makes sense.
You know, there are a lot of movies being shot in Indiana.
Yeah.
Nobody knows about them. I mean, they all might be $2 movies, but I mean, we have a lot of really good people, cast and crew here.
Yeah.
And so we were able to get, I mean, most of our cast is local.
Yeah.
I mean, fairly local. Like,
Yeah.
Amanda, she's out of Chicago, but she grew up in Indy. Ray is out of Louisville. Kevin Roach, who is in Harvest Lake, he's actually in Southern Indiana. You know, Darren Pup, who is our Marco, he lives, you know, like half hour from us.
Yeah.
And it just happened to be that way. I mean, Mike is from Florida, you know, so we weren't, we weren't being exclusive, but.
It was a factor, but it wasn't a deciding factor. So, I mean, like, if they all nailed their characters, that's all there is to it.
Well, and, you know, location will always be a factor, because if you need to do a reshoot, it helps if they're only 20 minutes down the road as opposed to across the country.
If I'm doing right now, it's a little easier.
Yeah.
You can just have them.
And it's good to have your old man has traveled around and, you know, has friends.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, can you stop in for about half hour and we'll knock this out, as opposed to, hey, let's book a flight, let's do all this. And so,
preaching to the choir right now, brother.
Everything is location, location. And, you know, it's anyone who doesn't see that really should get their head examined.
I mean, if I had an unlimited budget.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, would I care that much?
Nope.
Probably not. But I really that wasn't a money thing to say, I really want to try to get some talent here, because I want to shine a light on Indiana to say, hey, we've got competent people, not just cast, but we've got crew. So if you want to shoot a movie here, look, we've got good makeup people. We've got good PAs. We've got good sound people.
Yep.
Like, they're all here. And that's the kind of thing. So just so you know, Indiana is right now starting tax incentives, for film, which we've never had before. Illinois, Ohio gets everything. In fact, when we were talking about this movie, and we just, the very, very beginning, and I think we were even just casting somebody from like the Illinois Film Commission. Was like,
you're going to like this one.
Yeah. It was like, oh, you don't want to shoot in Indiana. You can't get tax incentives. You can't get all this. You need to come over. Let
me preface. Me, Beck, and my ex shared this tin roof account, because when shit would come in, it'd have to go through a process, you know, get entered into the Excel sheet, et cetera. So this dude was emailing what he thought was Rebecca alone. Never having met her, it was just some chick making a movie. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just basically like, I mean, your movie's going to be crap if you film it in Indiana. You need to bring it over here. You can get a much larger budget, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, well, thank you, but no thanks. Because, you know, we want, that's what everybody does. Yes. Would it be easier to drive 1 hour over the border and like make a movie that was 3 times the budget because you got tax incentives? Well, yeah, but that's what everybody does. And that's why we don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah.
Politicians.
Yeah. And this guy got kind of crappy with me about it.
He was being a jagoff, and I did not appreciate that.
Yeah. It's like, no, we have, believe it or not, yes, I am a chick who loves to slash people up on film and be slashed on film herself. And you know what? I have like morals, and I have, you know, integrity and all these things. Yeah, but he had believe it or not. Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh my God. I totally forgot that.
Really?
Yes.
That was the common point for me.
He was saying something about, you know, like,
I worked on.
So some, you know, name movie that you would know, but you were like, I might have seen it, whatever.
Fucking Blues Brothers.
We had swordfish every night.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you know what? I don't like fish. Okay, we like Little Caesar's pizza.
And we had and meatballs, you know, properly made meatballs because they were made by me.
But yeah, like, so it is.
Dude was wicked
crazy.
Arrogant, and he got his ass chewed.
Yeah. So
that one I didn't put in a subfolder. I just let it.
So all this just to bring it all back around. I mean, given all these things, because you know what? Here's the thing. I have this theory, like when I do podcasts, just in general, like people ask me the same questions, not even about Tin Roof, but just in general. Like, I want a little sound machine like radio stations have, where it's like you press 1 and it's a fart noise, and 2, the burp, and whatever. But like, okay, number 1 is, okay, when they ask, how did you two meet? You know,
Slide
number
whistle.
2, right. So we just press buttons, you know. So we're always doing the cookie cutter things. You're getting the shit that no one else has gotten. We are just dumping the crap on you.
Great dope, baby.
Well, and I mean, that's one of the things one, I have a leg up because, Rob and I talk on a regular basis. But 2, it's kind of the style that I run here. It's, I really just, it's super freeform. And that's how you get the stories. That's how you get stuff that people really want to hear about. Like, fans of this movie are going to love these stories, after they see it. And you're not going to get that with, so how'd you meet? What was production like?
But we just sound like a couple bitchy, old, crotchety filmmaker. But, I mean, the thing is,
Eyes Wide Shut. We met at Eyes Wide Shut.
Despite, despite some of these things, these are the colorful stories that we're telling you. But when it comes down to it, yes, we could have done the movie differently. We did have a producer who would have thrown a lot of money and at us, and no harm, no foul to him. He's one of my friends. But he wanted to use his crew and his effects guy and everything else. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I already have I've already picked who I'm going to do for these things.
That's a back pocket card.
Yeah. So could the movie...
He wanted the control that she wanted over her fucking film.
Right. And is there anything bad about that? No. But could the movie maybe have been better? Could it, with money? Yeah, probably. But
anything could.
But, I want to keep like my vision, my integrity together of like, this is an Indiana-made Indiana horror.
Yep.
And I hope people like it.
They will.
Well, and I mean, you've mentioned that, you said a couple times, could it be better? Could it be better? And I guess, you can always look at something and say, yes, with more money, more production value, more time, it could be better. But end of the day, ask yourself, did you get your story told? Did it come out the way that you saw it when you put it on paper or better? And were you happy with the final product? If so, hey.
Yeah, and that's really just where I'm at. Like with the Embalmers, I was in that rush of, oh fuck, I gotta get a real job. And like I'm in IT, so I don't have like that job where like I have like an all-encompassing job, it's always on my mind, all that kind of stuff. It's not one of those things where I just like, go sell donuts and I can just leave it at the end of the day and be done. So I was like, I gotta get this thing done. There were some other factors where I was just like, I just want this thing out of my life, whatever. But now with Tin Roof, I'm really sitting on it, and I'll sit on it for another year if I have to.
Yep. Get it done
just
right.
To make it sure it's right. And there is a saying that a lot of people have heard and a lot of people haven't heard, but I think is very good for...
It's a lot of people.
Yeah, I know. Everybody has either heard this or they haven't heard this, Rob. They fall into one of two categories. But I have found that a lot of people who are very antsy about, well, you shot the movie. When do I get my Blu-ray? I backed you. I gave you $50.
Yep.
And I'm, and I have a stake in this or whatever. The saying is, everybody wants their movie to be good, to be cheap, and to be fast. You can only have 2 of those 3 things. You can have a movie that's cheap and fast, but it's not going to be good. It can be good and cheap, but it's not going to be fast.
Right.
No matter how you put that around.
I got it. A Fiero and a Toyota Corolla. You can have a Fiero that's fast, or a Toyota Corolla.
That's not going to explode.
Oh, God.
Yeah, dude. How's that?
Right, and so I'm not going to succumb to the pressure. We did have some audio issues for a couple of the days, and so I've been working with a lot of ADR. And although I am a Giallo fan, I really don't want the movie to look like it's being lip synced through the whole thing. So I'm just really taking my time, laying the tracks, doing a lot of sound design and that kind of thing.
Told you she's a fucking Encyclopedia Brown.
Oh, I've been looking forward to
you
this,
mentioned
man.
Giallo. She had mentioned Giallo in there's films that I've got to watch in order to move forward with a couple of things we got going on with friends and stuff. And I'm like, Giallo. I fucking hate Giallo. I just prefer ice cream, dude.
I said, do you like your Giallo sugar or sugar free?
Yeah.
But
I like lemon Giallo.
Right.
Just to speak of interpretation of creativity and stuff, with the Embalmers, when we were writing, I'm like, hey, I can write a scene for me. I mean, if we're, writing around us, who better? And I wrote this really fucked up dark scene. Have you seen the film?
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing you know which one I wrote. Okay. So I wrote it really fucked up dark, and she interpreted it totally different than the way I wrote it in my head. And a lot of writers really get caught up on that. That's not the way I wrote it. No, motherfucker, people are going to interpret your shit correct, the way they want to. That's the point. So there's a point in creativity of letting go. There's always going to be one more brush stroke. There's always going to be a little tweak that would make it better, but it'll never be finished. So there's a point where you have to let it go.
So you just have to walk away, and you're like, this is it.
Enough. It's done.
Yeah. Right. And so with the Embalmers, my threshold on that was way lower than it is with this. But also, I always like to tell people advice that they aren't asking for. But if any of you are trying to get into filmmaking or whatever, I had done many a podcast or a YouTube channel, and I do a lot of video stuff for my former job. I did, a lot of video editing. I'm like, okay, so how hard can this be? Holy crap. When you have a hard drive full of unnamed, unorganized audio and video files where you just have it in your head, maybe you've got some call sheets, maybe you've got a few things. Because I got to tell you, the whole oh, hey, we're going to take audio notes on an indie film set, that lasts for about 30 seconds because nobody has time, so I don't have any kind of notes or anything. I'm just like, okay, I gotta sit there, actually look at the clip and wait for the slate to come up so I can tell what freaking scene it is. Editing is a bitch. It really is. And it's one of the things I think a lot of people get stuck on because it's very expensive to hire it out.
Yep.
I think that's what I should do. I think I should do freelance editing, and then I'd probably shoot
There's money in it.
It's so terrible,
dude. Unless you have the mind for it, no. She's got a mathematical mind. I'm more of the guy that runs through the field. The lilies going, yay! Look at all the pretty colors, and she's like, okay, how long do we have this? And it's very organized for her. And if it's not, it gets organized.
Right.
And for me,
how do you two work?
I'm like straight Aquarius, dude. I am.
We complement each other in this because I'm incredibly people say, oh, I'm so OCD. No, I have OCD. I am diagnosed with and medicated for OCD. And I like to tell, whenever my psychiatrist will ask, are your OCD symptoms, hindering or whatever? I'm like, listen, and I've told him this before, I'm like, OCD can be my superpower. So I don't want to suppress it all the way. Because there are a lot of times where it's that's what you need. Because it's like getting a big box of Legos and no instructions and somebody just dumps them on the floor. And you have to be like, okay, I'm supposed to make a spaceship out of this. I mean, That's really what it is. It's a huge puzzle. And
it served the purpose in filmmaking quite a bit. Herding cats and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's just so much to it. that goes beyond the I want to make a movie type thing. There's
like
some more of my advice. Just, it's not for the faint of heart.
Like, she had already planned the shot, set it up, done this, done that, done all this fucking legwork and prep, and then one of the actors got a hangnail. This is a theoretical. This didn't actually happen.
I'm like, wow.
Yeah, nobody. Like that.
No. But some shit came up that required not so much a personal touch, but a personable touch. So while she was getting jamming, making sure the angles are right and, got the lens right and all this yak shit, I'm fucking sitting in the corner holding a hand and talking to somebody.
Yeah, which is generally it's kind of our dynamic for everything. I'm like, kid, rub some dirt in it. And I'll walk away. He'll be like, hey, are you okay? Like, I mean, just in general, those are our, like, kind of demeanors of things. Like,
but the shit that we have in common is our kind of combined motto is get shit done. I'll show you the coffee cup.
Yeah, so that's the whole thing. Like, Mindy, his ex-wife, who is, great friend. She's, awesome, part of all this as well. But she said, the thing is that he would always start things, but he would never finish them until he started doing things with you.
Oh, I can see that.
And it's because I and we get shit done. It's just, we have between the two of us, we have some kind of system to where he can be the, like, floofy creative. I can be the Nazi taskmaster. And
accountant.
We can get things done, yeah.
I say, he needs somebody to rein him in from, just kind of focus that energy in one direction, really. It's not even so much rein it in, but, like, in, like, for instance, writing the movie, it's like, okay, this is, you guys, he set a goal for you to move on to another project. So his direction was, I'm writing this movie.
Oh, yeah. Fucking kicking and screaming. But in the end, I whacked out 88 pages in 4 days. And with minimal edits. I'm going to say maybe 5 misspellings. Not really.
No, we have spell checks, so.
No, check. Fuck that. I got a vocabulary.
No, Caltex will help you with that. But
you
yeah.
Talking shit, dude.
No, you had no misspellings at all. No type. No, but we did actually, like, sit at the table, and we have a few videos that I want to put on the behind the scenes that are still on my phone. We recorded ourselves, like, doing some of the scenes, like, just to see how they worked.
The flow, the fucking beats.
Right. Like, oh, you wouldn't say that, but of course then your actors get in there and, like, I would say things in a certain way. Like, there are a million different ways to say, I'm good, right?
Right.
Like, I might say, no, I'm good.
I might.
But my theory as a director is, if it's more natural to you and it doesn't change anything, I want you to say the way it's more natural to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you go, I may not actually hire you for my film if you say I. But if that's the way that you say it, I want you to say it the way that is more comfortable for you. But we really did work on...
Because it's more believable. And I write, the way I write is very phonetic. So, like, if I was writing a script based in Boston, I would write car, C-A-H. Get in the fucking car. We're going to beat somebody up. But wherever the accent is, because of my acting training and whatnot, accents I love it. Love accents. And so I write how the people in my area, wherever I'm writing, speak. So that anybody can read it and just read the fucking word, dude. And they'll get the accent, even if they have no training or blah, 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 blah. Very fun.
I'm surprised, though, that you didn't put a lot more R's in there. Yeah, he's softened up so much. Like the Bostonian, like we did a podcast with my friend Lacey Lou and her boyfriend Dan, who is also from Boston, who moved to Iowa to be with
my
her.
My boy!
Right? And so you've got like basically these two domesticated Bostonians who are living with these Midwestern horror girls. And they start talking, and as the podcast goes on, I mean, the R's are just getting dropped more and more, and they're saying shit, and Lacey's like, is he usually this Boston? I'm like, no, not this much, you know, but yeah, we're definitely packing the car. And
so when you're around more Boston, it just kind of, it sinks in. You know, like the more time you spend down south, you pick up that drawl. You know,
right.
It's unavoidable.
But he's adjusted, though. A lot of times he'll say something, and you'll notice, like, somebody just kind of looks at him, like, and then he'll repeat it. He'll go, "We need paper plates."
Paper plates.
And then, paper plates.
Oh, no, we get a shit list. I write it phonetically.
P-A-P. P-A-Y.
P-A-Y-P-A-H. Paper.
Paper.
Paper plates.
Get the paper.
But the thing is, when you get drunk or mad is when the original accent really comes out. And we were having a good time. And, you know, it was just, it's good to hear an accent that you grew up listening to.
Oh, yeah.
Like home.
Yeah. So it gets you fucking going, you know. So
but then he comes back here and he'll say, the car is in the driveway. Very strangely. Oh, we're going to Midwesternize him.
You already have. I'm pissing on the fucking paper.
That's right. Your paper.
What was the biggest hurdle filming in all of this? In like just all of like making Tin Roof start to where you're at now? Like,
you know, honestly, I mean, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but it's money and time, which are oftentimes interchangeable. We didn't get as much money in the Indiegogo that I wanted, but I've said this for years. The Indiegogo and you know, just crowdfunding in general, like we're all going to have to think of a different way because it's starting to get very toxic. It's not starting to, I think it is getting very toxic. There are a lot of people who back a movie and feel very entitled. I think a lot of movies get rushed because of that, because people are like, well, where are my perks? Well, I can't send you a DVD until I'm done with the damn movie. And so that, you know, they succumb to the pressure of like, well, I got to get this damn thing done to get people off my back.
And a lot of people get screwed by bullshit directors, bullshit producers.
Right. Yeah. It's not one-sided. Yeah. I've seen so many people get, you know, lose money and get screwed because it's like, well, what about that one movie I gave money to and like haven't heard about, you know? So money definitely, like if somebody just wrote me a check, that would have been great. However, in that reality, that would come with somebody else having some more creative control.
Yeah, fuck that. So
it's still, you know, I mean, you can wish for more money. Like if I had won the lottery, and I just had that money. That's what I want. Not, I wish I had a distributor and a producer and blah, blah.
Yeah, like if I was Jason Blum's personal ass rubbing assistant, we'd have had a decent budget.
I'm sure you could ask him. Everyone likes their ass rubbed.
Right? But, you know.
And everyone has a price. So, I mean.
It's all a balance and act. And it's indie filmmakers are at a disadvantage. However, there are advantages that only they can take advantage of, you know. The dedication of the crew. Mm-hmm. Our RPAs, Taka, he and just everybody we had stayed at the house, stayed where we needed. They really picked up slack that they didn't have to. They just took the initiative to do it because they believed in the film.
Right. In fact, like Taka, who he's talking about, we know him through she was a PA on the Embalmers. I didn't know her. I knew of her whenever we got her on the Embalmers. I like met her at a couple of cons, but nothing big. Jocelyn Eckert, she came in and like, I mean, she was like what I needed. Like I had warm bodies all over the place, but she would come up to me and be like, give me the slate, give me the damn marker. I'm doing this. What do you need? You know, and she was just like so organized. And then she came on for this.
Initiative.
She actually was my second AD on this. She started out as PA, but she ended up being, you know.
Well, she was
PA. But I gave her second AD because, I mean, that's what she was doing. But she brought Taka, who was we met him through her at a con, and we all we had fun. And, yeah, that too. But we met him at Days of the Dead before we went to the drive-in. Yep. But
long weekend.
Yeah, a couple
Usually.
long weekends. But like he came and he just wanted experience. He didn't expect anything, and he and Jocelyn slept on a air mattress in the back of my house, and
that sounds bad.
It was a communal.
It's a relatively small house, and
right. Our DP slept in our boys' room. I mean, he slept like in he found like 3 square feet where he could set up his bed, and we just kind of had
we got it done.
Yeah, we got it done, and we were all very communal,
and the cast was together.
Right. Yeah.
And that was a big thing for me because, in order to develop character, you don't necessarily need words, but given our characters, like for instance, Anthony Hopkins in Silence of the Lambs had, I think, 17 minutes total screen time.
Yeah.
And he won a fucking Oscar and was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he's Sir Anthony, but you don't necessarily need words to develop characters, situations, etc. But it's good to have that practice the night before. Okay, we know what we're doing tomorrow. You guys want to eat some pizza and run through lines, and get because they're best friends since birth. So there has to be that chemistry where it's bump, 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 bump. And especially with comedy, it's crack the whip staccato. So it's like boom, 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 boom. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. That kind of stuff.
You're cool.
Yeah, fuck you, I'm out.
Yeah. But yes, I mean, in short, yes, money and time.
That's what we were talking about.
Money and time, but in a bubble, not in reality. So, I mean, woulda, shoulda, coulda, whatever. I mean, my biggest hopes for this movie is I'm going to get it to where it is good for distribution. It's not going to be, I don't think, Universal's going to pick it up, but I mean,
you never know.
But just if I can get it out there to a little bit larger audience, that's really what I'm going for.
Oh yeah. Having done it, what advice would you give?
Don't
do it. It's a trap. No. What advice would you give for people who want to run like their crowdfunding campaigns to back their movies? Because it is getting really oversaturated in crowdfunding. Like you have to find a way to set yourself apart.
Yes, and so before I ever directed anything, I did a lot of promotion.
That's how we met.
Yeah, I did a lot of
circle back.
Yeah, a lot of promotion. I produced other people's things, and I ran a lot of Indiegogos, and the formula has kind of changed over the years. And when we're talking over the years, we're talking about like over 3 or 4 years.
It's rapid fire.
I mean, it's a relatively short amount of time.
Back in 1945 in Sicily.
But what the model that used to work, and I will say it's probably pre-COVID. That COVID changed everything. Like for Embalmers, yeah. So we put out our Indiegogo on March 13th, 2020, and on March 15th,
shut everything down.
The whole world was shut down and everybody was jobless.
Fucking eyes of March, man.
Yeah, and like, I mean, we made probably, I think we made like $8 or $9 grand in those 2 days. And then it was just like,
just hit a wall. Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Right. Which would have been, had that trend continued, obviously we would have made more money. I think at that point in time, I was like, okay, you got to get what you can get to get noticed and whatever. And there are obvious things like, okay, people want the movie. Okay, sell the movie. But those things, my kitchen table was packed with shit. I already lost my ass off of both these movies. I'm probably at least 15, 20 grand in the hole from the 2 movies combined.
We're getting out.
But I will say that I lost my ass on shipping. Because, I had to sit here and bag up every single one of them, do, whatever, sign it, or, put the stickers on it or whatever had to be done. I mean, I had out on my front porch every day was a huge USPS.
Mail guy's like, stop!
I know. And I'm like, ugh. So that was my first takeaway from the crowdfunding is I want to limit physical perks as much as I can with this one. And I did. So we don't have you don't have t-shirts, you don't have that kind of thing. Most of the things were intrinsic. So like, for example, it costs a lot to feed people. If you've ever had to throw a dinner party or you've had to host Thanksgiving or something.
Catering.
It is insane just to take care of people. And so that was one of the things I wanted to kind of bring up to people and also leverage. And it was like, okay, it costs a lot to feed us. So one of the perks was pay $100 and sponsor a meal. And if you want, we'll FaceTime you while we eat. And so it did. And
just bullshit. Hey, thank you. And
it raised awareness because then there are all these other people who are like, oh, wow, I didn't ever think about that.
Yep.
If you had to feed, you have to feed your family. And sometimes that's a little stressful. Now think about if you've got 20 people and you've got to feed them 3 meals. Plus you got to pay for where they're going to live. And
think about Thanksgiving dinner every day for 2 weeks.
Right.
And that's only dinner.
Right. So that was one of the things that I did that I have to say I'm really proud. A few of my friends have stolen that.
Borrowed.
Well, no, they told me first. They're like, is it okay if I use that? Right. But it didn't require anything of me to put out there. T-shirt, stuff like that. That's all just you make money up front whenever somebody gives you the $30. But then when it comes down to it and you have to deliver on that, now suddenly you're down $32, by the time you ship it and make it and all that stuff. So I got creative with that stuff, with our, we limited our executive producer perks. I'm kind of sick of that being a thing. I want it to be you really did give a significant amount of the budget to this film. Yeah, there's something weird going on in the fireplace.
Don't burn the house down. You gave a
significant amount to this budget, and I will give you, executive producer credit for it. I don't want to give you executive producer credit for giving me $20.
It's going up.
So our executive producer perks were more expensive than a lot of people have. We did add some things in, not physical stuff, but the whole thing is it was kind of God, I don't want to use this word, but elite. It was something special. As opposed to, for $25, 200 people are going to get their name,
Instead of Cadillac Flambe.
But,
That literary reference, but... Okay.
But yeah, so those were a couple things that I did.
I do have to interject that, I'm very happy and proud that she said, if she says it, she does it. Her integrity is out the ass. I've always preached integrity, even at the cost of, your personal gain. If she says you're going to get ABC, you're getting fucking ABC, dog. And I've got a Discover card. I've been to that fucking post office, God knows how many times. I think I got the office lady there hitting on me every time I come in instead of me hitting on her.
But yeah, so those are some of the things. And I did offer, Blu-rays and DVDs, which I still am kind of maybe I shouldn't have even done that,
It's almost, these days, I think a digital download code, you can do it cheaper and you can just get it out. You're done. Just here's the...
Yeah, but a lot of the people that I know, and that was one of the things that I kind of succumbed to, is I know a lot of people who are like, I just want the movie. I just give me a DVD. Okay. So DVD people. But then you have the people who are like, oh, I only buy Blu-ray.
Right.
Mm-mm. Yeah. And horror people are really bad about that. Not bad about it, but horror people are very particular. Yes, that they want Blu-ray and they want it physical. I'm kind of screwed a little there,
But she did.
Yeah, but
And that's fucking admirable, dude. I'm sorry.
But yeah, I wanted to be able to run the Indiegogo with some creative things to where I could actually get that money and not tank half of that into buying the physical perks to give to people who gave me money. And so that was pretty helpful. I mean, I think I realized, like, after the Embalmers, I realized, I could have made this movie on half the budget if I'd not involved anybody else. Because I already, like, dumped, like, $6,000 of my own money into the Embalmers, and I'm like, with that and, like, the money I could have gotten from people from non-physical perks, I could have made it without that extra.
Well, we had to get Chinese. Chinese was necessary.
Cool.
So, do you have a projected release date in mind for Tin Roof?
Okay, so wrapping up and getting back on track here. Yes, so we are...
Oh, we're always on track, just not sure which track it is.
Exactly. So I'm hoping for spring of 2023.
Yeah.
But I am not pigeonholing myself to where that is going to be the case.
Not beholden to a date.
Yeah, if I start doing sound design and I decide I'm not happy with it or whatever, I will sit on it. But spring 2023, I think, is probably a fair date to say.
A fair affair?
Ish.
A fair affair.
How's that?
Yeah.
Ish.
Spring, summer, middle of the year, good time to watch a nice camp slasher.
Yeah, and that's kind of my thought too. I mean, nobody wants to watch a Christmas movie like in, August or whatever. I'd like to have it come out with the season.
Yeah.
But
Deadly Stockings. Oh shit! Write that down. Yeah, that's our next one.
I just made me think of Silk Stockings, that show that was on USA.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, by the chimney with Kea, and they go to kill the kids and stuff.
Hung by the chimney with hair.
We'll never make a fucking holiday themed horror movie. Oh my god!
You're saying never. I think we've all learned not to do that.
Personally, I love Christmas horror because it's one of those. Like, it's not a season where murder is high on everybody's mind, but, like, it has to be done right.
That's not murder. I mean, it is. But yeah, I don't know. Like, no offense to anybody who does Christmas horror, likes Christmas horror. I have this thing, and it's not a horror thing. It is, if you hum Jingle Bells in February, I am likely to punch you.
It stems from Gremlins, Dollars to Donuts.
Probably.
We haven't had this. Let's explore that.
But Christmas stays in the December box for me. Like,
100%.
Yeah, December 1st, and there are movies. Gremlins is about the only Christmas movie that I'll watch outside of the Christmas season.
Yep.
Christmas Story, one of my favorite fucking movies ever. Black Christmas, by the same director. Two of my favorite Christmas movies, polar opposites, but I don't watch them outside of December.
No, it's always around that time of year where you're like, yeah.
Oh my god. No, because Kroger does it enough for everybody.
God. Have they never heard of Trans-Siberian?
Oh, they play those two.
Fucking Carol of the Bells on fucking metal guitar? Fuck yeah.
I'm sorry, gentlemen. It is mid-November. Although I guess I should.
We're just talking.
Wait. So this is supposed to be your, like, Christmas... one of your Christmas episodes, right? And I'm talking about how much I can't stand Christmas. Oh, well, that's okay, because I was on a podcast with Lacey, and it was their Halloween. They did like a whole series of things on Halloween. I was the first one, and like the very first question she asked is like, "Why is Halloween your favorite holiday?" And I'm like, "I fucking hate Halloween." Yeah, like I'm so.
She set you up for that was an LU.
No. She was like, oh.
She didn't know that?
No, she didn't.
That's
yeah. I have reasons. I've even written an essay on it. But
before that was a film.
Yeah.
So where can listeners keep up to date with the progress of Tin Roof and watch for upcoming announcements as far as release date? And
you can call Rebecca. She doesn't like texts. She very much prefers calls.
There's some slight sarcasm there. I hate Halloween. I hate Christmas outside of December, and I can barely tolerate it in December, and I cannot stand fucking phone calls. Yeah. Right? Let's just get, what's the Hallmark card, the grouchy lady Maxine? I feel like that's what I am. So anyway,
You got straight ahead.
lighter note. Yes, Facebook, we have a group, Tin Roof Movie. Look for us. We're also on Instagram.
With page.
Same moniker. Find me everywhere. If you guys, I seem to be everywhere. But that's probably the best place. But a really good place to solidify your involvement in the movie is to go to Indiegogo. We are in demand. We actually met our goal, and so we've kept it in demand. You can either donate, you can pre-order the DVD or Blu-ray. We've got signed posters there, and it is igg.me/@/tinroof.
We've got a couple of boxes full of items.
Pretty soon. So we've got the kill box. Yeah, we've got a box of bloody crap in the garage that will at some point be auctioned off. So,
Nice.
Yeah. So, if you get with our Facebook page or get on the Indiegogo, you will find out about how to get your hands on those said bloody things.
Yeah, and we had like I said, we haggled over the kills for about a week. And if you follow our conversation in this conversation, it's boom, 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 boom. We pretty much get shit done. But she had very specific kills that she wanted, and we got it fucking done. Mm-hmm. And we've got all the toys. Yeah. So very interesting items.
Oh, I'm looking forward to how everything progresses from here. It's been a fun ride sitting back watching it. I can't really imagine what it's been like on your guys' side, but watching it from essentially inception to here, it's been a blast to watch.
Let's just say, somebody we need to give props to, our effects guy was Joe Castro. Yep.
Holy shit.
Yeah, fucking amazing. Super great.
I didn't know you could do that.
Right, like they were just, he sat at our kitchen table and was sticking an axe in somebody's head and stuff. But he's in LA, and so he's like, okay, well, it'll make it a lot easier if you have this, and this, like the blood ingredients, for example.
We still got it out back in the fridge.
But here's the thing, I end up getting the big old gallons Aunt Jemima pancake syrup, I think it is a gallon, actually. Yeah. I got 6, I think, of those, and he's like, oh, you're not gonna need all that, it just, it goes really far, whatever. We only have 1 left.
Yeah.
So we went through 5 jugs of pancake blood and some other stuff too, so
bloody pancakes.
Just amazing, the shit, and it's practical, so it's shit laying around the house, so just watching him, he was like, I'm not going to say, but he's like, hey, if you consume X, hang on to the container.
Yeah, it was collect all your 2-liter bottles.
She's going to blow it out.
Yeah, no, for 6 months, it was okay, if I need to make a dummy, I need Gorilla Tape, and I need, milk jugs. Well, we had this whole corner in the garage, just any kind of random thing you can think of, just throw in your garage.
Just chucked it in the corner.
And he's like, I'll use it.
Oh, when he got here, he looked at the pile and he was like, he's like, oh my god, this is
recycling at its finest. I mean,
2-liter bottles.
Yeah.
So that's part of the making movies is, creative collaboration. We had no fucking idea why we were collecting fucking 2 liters, but we know Joe needed it.
Because they make great biceps.
Yeah. Joe needed that, so we did that. This person needed that, all the way down the line. And in the end, everybody there was zero ego, and everybody got together, and I think we made a hell of a movie.
And I hope it shows in that final edited version that I am painstakingly trying to get done. Every morning, she gets up earlier than she normally would if we didn't have tin roof, and tries to sneak in about 5 minutes here and there, wherever she can, not smooching on me or nothing like, oh God, nothing like that. But she's dedicated and she's focused, and I fucking love that about her. Yeah, if I don't do something on one of the movies. Oh God, it hurts the fucking. Yeah, I get texts all fucking day. Can't continue my day. Oh God, I really wish,
Well, this has been more than I anticipated, but as fun as I thought it was going to be.
Hey, you get what you asked for.
No, I every time. You got
the totally organic one.
The bin.
Yeah, everybody else has the same damn podcast. You got a different one.
And listeners, I will have the links to their Facebook and Instagram and Indiegogo and everything else in the episode description for easy access. You can find me on Twitter and on Facebook at Moose Media Inc. or alongside other great podcasters over at electronicmediacollective.com. Rob and Rebecca, this has been fun. This has been amazing. And we will definitely do this again closer to release time or after release, where we can dive into it and just rip into it.
I don't know, man. We might be cult favorites by then.
Secret spoiler cast.
Yeah, man.
So head over, check them out on Facebook. Make sure you're following for updates. You're not going to want to sleep on this one, guys. Come back tomorrow for another episode of the 13 Horror-fying Days of Christmas. And until next time, Horror Hounds, mash on.
Happy Christmas.
Bye.